Hey everybody, Model Man here. So here's a look at step one, the case. What to say about them? Generally, I like to get the cheaper end of cases. You can get them as low as 20 bucks, and in which case it's going to be all aluminum, aluminum frame, aluminum walls, and those can be a little too cheap. If you've got aluminum walls, trying to slot them back in, they wobble all over the place. It's a real hassle. But it's cheap, it's efficient, it works. Stepping up to the 30 to 50, well, pretty much $30 and up, you're probably going to get at least a steel frame and probably steel walls. And in this case, this is a $50 case. I don't know what it originally retails for, but there are a couple reasons why I got this over everything else. But first up, let's take a look. One thing I'm not used to at all here is that the power supply goes on the bottom. Usually, old style, they went on the top, and one of the reasons why they've put the power supply on the bottom now is that the power cable coming off doesn't interfere with any of your other cables at all. So it just comes out of the bottom, runs along the ground. That's a nice little touch there, I think. What else? This one has open slots, so if I go to liquid cooling eventually, and I probably will with this processor, but not quite yet. That's a really expensive and over-the-top modification. Nice big fan in the back there. There's another fan in the front right behind here in the bezel. There's room for a third fan down there, and obviously we got room for a fan on the side. And this case, as you can see, has this huge open area here, and what I'm probably going to do, I don't know quite why they did this since the power supply goes on the bottom, but there are some screw holes which I figure is probably for fans, and what I'll be doing is, this is obviously a lot of area for dust to fall into, so what I'll be doing is getting some really thin green scrub pads and just simply layering them on the inside here to act as dust barriers. I may even do that on the front. It's a good, cheap, effective way to make yourself a dust filter. And let's take a look at the bottom real quick as well. So as I mentioned, the power supply goes on the bottom, and in this case the power supply has a fan on the bottom, so this I don't know if this is quite enough room. That's probably about half an inch, maybe. Yeah, it's probably half an inch deep to the floor, so there's definitely going to be a lot of air kicking out of the bottom of this. And I think that is pretty much all there is to talk about on the front here. It's a Cooler Master brand. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. The only thing I really don't like about it is the silk screening of the word half up here. That's probably showing off in the light to some degree. I really like my cases to be plain. If I'm going to paint them, I'll paint them up. And I think in this case, they really baked on this enamel finish here, so I'm not going to be able to simply strip this away. This almost feels like a decal, but probably what it is just a gloss pass that they cooked on as well. I'm not psyched about that. I hate logos. Hate them, hate them, hate them. So I don't know, even if I spray painted over this with primer, the lines would probably still show up because they do have some relief to them. But other than that, what have we got here? 2, 4, 6, 7 expansion slots for cards. You're not likely to ever use that many, but it's good to have them and in different positions based on where the motherboard goes. And on the front here, we've got 4 external bays. One of them's a 3.5 for a floppy drive if you still use those, and 3 others for DVD drives, fan slots, or any other accessories that fit the standard 5.25 inch bay. So all the hard drive slots are going to be down under here, and oh yeah, up here at the very top, is that in shot? Just about barely. We got a couple USB ports, microphone, speaker, and reset and power. So let's pop this case open. So on first look here, on the main access side, we've got these really nice screw handles here. And I like these a lot, but over on this far side here, we've got regular screws. So first thing I'm going to do to this case is replace them. if you build a lot of cases or do a lot of computer work, you're going to want to get a pack of screws and accessories. This is Ultra in this case, and I've had this for probably 5 years. It's got all the collection of every random screw I've ever used, and of course stuff that I haven't used that's still original to this case. And what I do have in here are a couple nice gloss black screw handle type things of the same variety. So let me get a screwdriver here. This is going to be your main tool for the entire process. One standard screwdriver with one standard Phillips head on it. So I'll just throw these screws in my collection. And just for the heck of it, I'll test fit at least one of these here to make sure this fit. Should be standard. And it is. It'd be nice if I had some matching ones here. These are silver. I don't have any silver, and I've only got 2 of these in black. So that is okay with me. Let's pull that off to the side here. And another thing that you'll find very useful to have around is a roll of tape. And it looks like they gave me an extra, well, that probably actually holds that there. I thought maybe that was an extra to replace one of these if I lost that. So just give me a second here to stick these on the tape. Good enough. Let's pull this side off. Yeah, it's definitely a nice steel piece of metal there. That's not really going to wobble when it goes on, which is a very nice touch. And later on I'll show you the difference between the two. So over here there's a cable management system is what they're calling it. This just lets you route a lot of the cables behind the motherboard so the interior isn't quite so cluttered. And I can already see some big differences than what I'm used to. Let's pull this side off now. When you buy a case, 99% of the time you're going to get a box or a baggie of all the accessories you need, including every single screw possible for attaching the motherboard, various components. It looks like there's some strip ties in there, a little microphone to beep for the motherboard. What's this here? Some drive rails. Alright, so we can leave all this to the side for the moment. So all the case wires are nice and tied up back there. Got fan wires up here for the front, and very nice. Let's see here. Usually the front bezel, from what I've experienced, is screwed down or even like super attached to the front. This just clips off. I like that a lot. And it looks like these just clip out as well. Very nice touch. So that is a nice little thing there for this. So you can see here we got a nice big fan on the front. There's some room for another fan here, which I will be doing. I don't have any on hand, but that's something to add a little later. And again, putting a green scrub pad in between here will act as a dust filter if you want to do that. Help keep the inside of your case clean. So already I can see there's a lot of differences from what I'm used to for a motherboard. The power supply goes on the bottom. That's a big difference for me. The water cooling inlets, obviously. Side-facing hard drive mounts. I have never had a case that did this before. And I expect that's so you can run the wires out the back, but I may run them out the front just for ease of access. We'll see. So the main reason why I bought this case was because of the number of bays here. It's got 6 internal 3.5 inch and then 4 external 5.25 inch. So obviously to fit a hard drive in here you need some rails. It looks like the case comes with at least one. I've got a few laying around and I'll show you those when we get to that aspect. I was thinking there were 7 internal bays, but it looks like there's just 6. I don't know that this little thing is going to be useful for anything at all, but I may be able to mount one hard drive on that, for example. Side-facing hard drive bays, like I said, I've never really seen that before, which will be an interesting thing. And that, I think, is pretty much it for a look at the case. So, let's see. So that bezel fits on really nice. So the first thing we'll be doing up next is putting the CPU on the motherboard, and then the motherboard into here. There are a couple different formats of the motherboard, and I'll talk about that more when we get to them. That's why there's so many screw holes on the back there, is to fit all of those. So when you are shopping for your own box, you've got to make sure that the case and the motherboard are the same form factor, is what it's called. ATX, Micro ATX, BTX, and there's half a dozen other formats as well. Micro ATX and HPDX, I think, and there's M-ATX, I think. There's a few of them out there. It can get complicated, but the most standard one is the ATX. So this is an ATX case, which will also fit a Micro ATX. The board itself is either a full ATX or a Micro ATX. We'll get to that when we get to that. And that is it, I think, for a look at the case. So I'll see you up in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.